The 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama has landed in the cornfields of Iowa at one of the most technical tracks across the season. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen the two juggernauts of the series strike blows, and with Subaru Motorsports USA and John Robertson winning last time out at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the blue and gold finds itself in a familiar position at the top of the championship. Today though, at the fastest short track in the world, will SET Esports respond? Will a defending champion defend his win here 12 months ago, or will a new face emerge in victory lane? Hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and coverage of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside for today's action is Paul Smith, with Tyler Maxon in the production truck controlling all the actions. Paul, this is a track known for fireworks, a season that's already produced fireworks. We now head to a track where cars flipping is a little bit more normal than you would expect. The All-Stars are ready to have some fun, and I'm expecting plenty of chaos from our All-Stars.
Well, I mean, we had one of the craziest starts ever in the All-Stars last year, so definitely this is one that can really throw a spanner in the works around this track. And yeah, those walls, they do get a little bit close for those drivers out there. It should be a tremendous evening racing.
And so let's talk a little bit then about this track in particular. It is coined the fastest short track in the world when the likes of the NTT IndyCar series come here. But Rallycross action does take part on some of that progressive banking, which is 12 to 14 degrees through the oval turns, but it's about 8 turns at just under 1 kilometer, but plenty of asphalt, not that much dirt, and a very quick and a very technical joker here, Paul, that's going to see a run down in towards the first corner on the start of 115 meters. We've seen plenty of bumping and barging down into that right-hand hairpin.
And of course, it's one of the venues where you can actually take the joker on the first lap as well, so a little bit more strategy to play here in today's venue, and certainly we're going to see that joker lap used to advantage, and as drivers try and work themselves into some clear air out there.
So let's talk about the schedule very quickly, because already almost 3 rounds into this 9-race championship, it is starting to fly on by, and given the amount of action that we've seen, not totally surprised to be saying that. But the final of our first 3 races sees us staying in the US. We'll fly across the pond to Paul's neck of the woods. Brands Hatch will take place on August 13th, the first taste of World Championship action there. 2 more races in Europe, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, venue that's seen plenty of real-world action, along with Hell-Lankenbanen. Will return to the US side of the pond, Phoenix Raceway, Wine Country, and Sonoma, before America's home of racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway, will conclude our action. So, like we said, the All-Stars ready to have some fun. Sometimes the All-Stars put on some better racing than what we've seen from the World Championship drivers. Just an indication of the varying degrees of talent that we've got here. It's an eclectic group of drivers. In week 1, it was Parker Retzlaff, the ARCA driver, who won at the World Center of Racing. Last time out, it was Luke Knapp, one of the best in the desert, that's got plenty of iRacing experience as well, that took the victory in the Peach State. But now we head to the Hawkeye State, and on board with Luke Knapp over the jump, under the start-finish gantry, and in towards turns 1 and 2. A series of left-hand sweepers. You'll see the joker off to the right-hand side, almost 11.5 seconds quicker. But at the top of the timing sheets for now, it is the eNASCAR star car, Casey Kerwin, joining us for action today. Jamie Fluke in action as well after missing out 7 days ago. Glad to hear that Jamie is on the mend. Team Fordzilla, GoPro Lopez in 3rd position. Parker Retzlaff, our previous race winner back in week 1, sits in 4th. Very technical final couple of corners that you'll see Knapp go over the jump right now. And you've seen as well in the past, Matthew Madigan back in 2019, Paul, found himself over the jump and straight into the tire barriers that surround that start-finish gantry.
Yeah, certainly. It's very difficult to get absolutely right every single lap. You come round that corner, you exit that corner, and then immediately you're on the jump. So whatever exit you get out of that corner is what you take over the jump there. So it can catch a few people out. That's about as good a one as you could do there, landing nicely in the middle, but then you've got to get it set up for those first couple of corners around the lap. And yeah, definitely, it's interesting to see how these drivers and how they deal with the technical nature of the full lap, and how and when they use that joker lap.
Oh. Well, Roger Carruth slams down the wall coming out onto the oval banking, but qualifying is done. It is Yokohama pole award to Casey Kerwin. He will lead us off at the tail end of Heat 1 because unlike what we saw in the first couple of races, our heats will be inverted just like our 10-lap feature is as well. So Heat number 1 about to get underway. 6 cars ready to rumble. Let's take a look then at your Yokohama starting grid. Robbie Lyons joins us here today alongside Parker Kligerman. Great to have lots of different drivers with different backgrounds joining us. We saw Bilko Williams last time out from Atlanta, returns here in Iowa alongside popular streamer Qualifiers, GoPro Lopez, Casey Kerwin, rounding out our 6-car grid. 115 meters, that is the run down into turn number 1. And, well, for whoever's on pole, Robbie Lyons, he'll be hoping not to have too much contact heading into that run.
Yeah, that's what he'll be hoping for. 2x2 formation here as these drivers get ready, and it's that inside line that you want to get into turn number 1. So that inside of row number 2 is actually looking very, very good if you get a good launch.
And I believe it is 2 iRacer cars that sit out the front, so they'll be watching on in delight as we are ready to race here in the cornfields of Iowa. Lyons doesn't get off the line at all. It's 4 wide into the corner. Lyons gets spun around by Bilko Williams. Traffic jam that's now stacked up, but into turn number 1 and across the jump. Here comes Parker Kligerman. Quirkitai side by side with him. A little bit of contact. GoPro Lopez just behind us, spun around. Casey Kerwin has more traffic jams, but these two side by side onto the asphalt. Still, it is Quirkitai that's going to be shoved off the track, and he returned the favor to Kligerman.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Oh, you want to use the side of your car? Fine, I can use the side of mine as well. We've said it time and again. Rallycross is a contact sport, and that's what we're seeing right here. And nothing too malicious in all of that. That was just trying to assert dominance out there on the track.
Well, it's a cage match on wheels, as Chris Leone puts Rallycross. That's how he describes it, as you see GoPro Lopez nosing his car down over the jump, chasing down now Casey Kerwin. Bilko Williams took to the Joker last time around. Kerwin and GoPro Lopez decide to commit, so it's about 11.5 seconds quicker, a little bit slower if you knock down the wall, as Kerwin did there on board with GoPro Lopez, using all of the track, setting himself up into a straight braking zone that takes you through that penultimate corner, sweeping himself back onto the gravel, and now over the jump. So Kerwin and GoPro Lopez 1 and 2, fighting over the 2 transfer positions into our feature race. Kligerman is taken to the Joker as well, so Quirkitai now will be the car to keep our eye on, and he does indeed have the delta time, but it is very, very close. It's going to be now about maximizing that Joker and making sure he makes no mistakes like we saw last time around. And here we go. Quirkitai to the Joker. A little bit slow, but he's going to come out in front of GoPro Lopez.
Yeah, that's crucial for him right there. Get himself into that transfer spot as into those last couple of corners. We saw GoPro Lopez when he went over the jump. He's done it again. He's really nosing down front left. He's taking all of the weight of that jump over. So GoPro is really pushing his car to the limit.
And so I believe that for the All-Stars, we have the damage model turned off. So there's not too much risk for these drivers. It just means they can have that much more fun and bump doors, grind elbows as well. But when the World Championship drivers are out on track, they need to be careful over that jump, because if you land just in the wrong way, you'll blow up your engine, and that's really going to slow you down. Quirkitai slows himself down. GoPro Lopez down the inside. Final lap this time around. Casey Kerwin, GoPro Lopez looking to advance.
Yeah, taking the paint off on the wall is one way to guarantee yourself to slow down a bit too much there. Yeah, GoPro won't be asking twice about that.
Actually, there is a bit of damage on the front of GoPro Lopez's car, so I wonder if we've left the damage model on for these drivers. Might have to watch out for slow cars then over the jump, and you can control that using the throttle and the brake to pitch your car, very much like an aeroplane would. But through the final couple of corners, Casey Kerwin from last to first, qualified on pole, and he'll advance straight to the 10-lap feature. He'll also be starting from the tail end of that 10-lap race, so plenty of work for him to do once more to fight his way to the front. GoPro Lopez advances with Kerwin, the Team Fordzilla machine. 3 seconds off the pace. Quirkitai, with that slight mistake into the final corner, drops the third. Parker Kligerman, Bilko Williams, Robbie Lyons, all heading to our last chance qualifiers. And it is Rallycross action, so it's fast and frenetic. Heat number 2 ready to get underway, and Puck Vanek joins us once again. The pilot looking to accumulate some frequent flyer miles. He'll be alongside Tim Stevens, who returns to the All-Stars. Road Show editor joins us back here today with Aero Trevor Teal, 2 Twitch streamers sharing row number 2. Connor Barry, Parker Retzlaff, 5 and 6. Of course, Retzlaff, who did win at Daytona, qualified in 2nd. That means in our inverted heats, he starts at the tail end of the field. And you saw just how important it is to get a good launch down into that final corner. Let's see what's going to happen here, because we are ready. 5 more laps on the board. And Paul, well, these drivers are already showing us that it's a technical track, but you get your elbows out, you can get the passes done. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's great, I will say, great to see Tim Stevens back in the All-Stars this year.
So here we go. Nitro Circus star car in the middle. Watch out for the 72 of Trevor Teal. It's a long hold, but we're waiting and we're racing. Good launch from Teal, who's already down the middle, making it 3 wide. Traction GG car of Aero just holding back in the background, but up and over the jump. Connor Barry, I think, has snuck his way through to the race lead. In fact, no, he's battling with Puck Vanek, who slides it wide. Multiple cars going through the grass. Opens the door for a couple of cars to sneak it down the inside. Several scramble off to the Joker, including Trevor Teal. But there we go, in towards the right-hand asphalt hairpin. Lots of action still going on.
Yeah, now Teal, he's taken that Joker lap early, looking to get himself some space. That's what these drivers want to do out there, to get some quick times in here, and especially if you're at the back of the field, that's the time to do it. Whereas these guys who were at the front, they just want to try and get to a point where they know they can take that Joker lap and come out in a safe spot. So right now, I'm looking at it, and Barry, well, he's got a comfortable lead, although it is within the delta there.
So Parker Retzlaff, 10.5 seconds behind your race leader. Tim Stevens just outside. So on the bubble, looking for arrows on the left-hand side of the screen to update. So you'll see that Joker indication. It will update at the end of the lap when drivers come down onto the Joker. And so as over the jump goes Parker Retzlaff, you can see Joker illuminates side by side over the jump. It's Puck Vanek and Tim Stevens. Stevens returns to the series and looks to try and sling the move, but slides himself wide, almost loses the rear end of that Subaru. Puck Vanek holds on, and Stevens to the Joker.
Well, he set himself up nicely to take that Joker, to be honest, did Stevens, and got a nice launch out of that corner and then into that Joker lap. So he did a good job of getting himself set up nicely there. But he is quite a bit off of your 2 race leaders right now. Barry and Teal doing a fantastic job here at the front.
Retzlaff is closing the gap. Last time around, he was about 9/10 quicker than Connor Barry out front. So I think Retzlaff is going to wait till the final lap and time that Joker to perfection. He's not waiting. Retzlaff goes this time around. Perfect Joker execution. Retzlaff to the race lead.
Yeah. Why wait when you can take it now? And that's exactly what he's done there. Here comes Puck Vanek then. Around the outside off the exit of the Joker, so everyone's jokered here. It's all down to this final lap and where people all fit in here. And Barry will be under pressure from Teal on this last lap.
Yeah, it's only about half a second between those 2 cars. Of course, they're fighting over the transfer positions. Puck Vanek trying to resume hostilities with Tim Stevens in front. There you can see at the outside of the shot. Teal hunting down Connor Barry in the 028 machine. Those 2 cars coming through the left-hander that brings you back onto the banking. Doesn't look, though, like Teal is close enough to get the move done. So heat number 2, Parker Retzlaff, winner at Daytona, winner of heat 2 here. Who's going to advance in second, though? It's close. It's not close enough for Teal. Connor Barry finds himself alongside Retzlaff in the feature. 4 more cars ready to go into our last chance qualifiers. As Aero HD, well, sideways over the start-finish line. We saw him putting the star points into effect last time around. If you can't win, you might as well be the most stylish one out there. So Retzlaff and Barry through. Trevor Teal, Tim Stevens, Puck Vanek, and Aero into those last chance qualifiers, those consolation races. So here's a look then at the Yokohama starting grid for heat number 3. It will be Roger Carruth, the ARCA driver who's going to make the step up into Xfinity competition in 2022. Racing for Space Station Gaming alongside Justin Melillo, Landon Huffman, Craig Setup Shop. Row 2, well, Luke Knupp, winner last time from the Atlanta Motor Speedway alongside the returning Jamie Fluke. Fluke qualified then in 3rd position. Has to start from the tail in these inverted heat races. So once more, 5 laps on the board. 6 cars ready to be shot down into that right-hand hairpin. Waiting for the engines to rev here at the Iowa Speedway. The fastest short track on the planet, 0 to 60 in these cars. 2 seconds, Roger Carruth, I think, has jumped the start and now doesn't get off the line. Not sure if that's Luke Knupp, it was, who has to check up as Carruth. Just a roadblock in the middle of the road. Up into first, though, Landon Huffman, +2 positions, battling with Craig Setup Shop who win the Beetle. The only VW Beetle in the field is side by side with Justin Melillo. Melillo goes around Jamie Fluke, scrambling to try and take advantage.
Well, I mean, that was a messy start, and a little piece of advice from myself to Carruth: if you're going to jump the start, just keep going. You might as well, you're going to get a time penalty, so you might as well just keep going at that point and hopefully get enough of a gap. But yeah, this is definitely a bit of a more messy start, to say the least. Melillo getting caught out in the middle of 1 and 2.
And something else has happened to Melillo. Sorry to cut you off there, as you now ride on board with Landon Huffman. Him and Craig Williams have taken to the Joker this time on that lap number 1, so they're truly clear of the field. Jamie Fluke now has to battle with Roger Carruth, who's taken to the Joker this time. Carruth slides himself up into 3rd. That is the Space Station Gaming car, resplendent in the iRacing colors as Carruth goes deep into the corner. Up and over the jump for him. So Melillo, not the best of starts. Well, he had a good launch, managed to scramble his way up into 3rd, but then from there, down the order as a result of multiple contacts. And now looking at that battle for the race lead, Jamie Fluke is closing though, 9/10 quicker last time around. Fluke within that Joker window. For Luke Knupp, looking like he's going to have a trip through the consolation races. Not what we expected from a driver who's been pretty consistent over the first 2 rounds of this All-Star Invitational, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot get it. Well, he was the one who got caught out with the jump start of Carruth and ended up spinning round into that first turn after the start. So that's why he dropped all the way back down there. But Craig Williams from Craig Setup Shop really peddling that Beetle. He knows that he needs to get past Huffman here to have any chance of progressing straight through into that feature race.
And just a reminder, this is one of the tracks this season with the least amount of dirt on the track itself. So up and through the banking and into the braking zone, now you'll rejoin that dirt, and this is where maybe the short wheelbase of that VW Beetle just a little bit stronger.
Oh, look at that!
Final lap, Craig Williams to the inside, bullies Landon Huffman wide, and now opens the door potentially for Jamie Fluke to take the Joker and take the win here, as it is Williams in front. Here comes, though, the Northern Irish driver, a Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup competitor in the last 2 years. Through the Joker cleanly, Fluke in control. Craig Williams just ahead of Landon Huffman, and it will mean that Jamie Fluke and Craig Setup Shop will advance. Oh, no, Landon Huffman throws the move down to the inside. Race control not going to be needed for that one because, well, we're already getting ready for those last chance qualifiers. Huffman will advance, and we know that Craig Williams, who's here just for a little bit of fun, won't be too disappointed about that one. Great battling between Landon Huffman and the Craig Setup Shop, the number 360 VW Beetle. So 3 heats done and dusted, 6 drivers locked in to our feature. Now let's determine those final 4 to advance. So Jamie Fluke, Landon Huffman through. The rest of the drivers heading into one of 2 last chance qualifiers. So let's take a look then at the Yokohama starting grid for the first of these qualifiers. Corketize alongside Craig Setup Shop. Tim Stevens and Bilko Williams on row 2. Justin Melillo and Aero, row number 3. The Traction GG cars looking to try and advance at least one of them into our feature. And again, out of these 6 drivers, 2 will advance. unlike what we'll see in the World Championships, where 4 heats means 8 drivers working their way into the feature. Only 1 car advances from there. That was messy, Paul, but that's what Rallycross is all about. As Chris Leone calls it, it really is a cage match on wheels.
Certainly is, and well, you need a referee in there to separate the drivers on occasion, but no, that at the end there, that was a case of, all right, you give me that into turn 1, fine, I'll give you that into the penultimate corner. So yeah, all's fair in love and Rallycross.
Are we going to get the final car in this grid? Doesn't look like it. I think Craig Williams is not going to be racing, so bye-bye Craig. But in towards the right-hand hairpin, Bilko Williams looking for the move on Quirkatai's Subaru side by side. And a reminder, 5 cars, 2 advance, 3 say goodbye until next week at Brands Hatch. Aero in front of Justin Melillo, almost running in to that car in front of him. Stevens takes the Joker early, looking for some clean air. That might be crucial given what we've seen over the last couple of heat races here.
Well, we've seen last year how Tim Stevens, he had 1 or 2 bright spells in the All-Stars. Misses his apex a little bit there through the penultimate corner, but doesn't matter too much because it sets you up nicely for the exit of the final turn to get over the jump. So yeah, you're quite right there. Getting that early Joker, getting the clean air can really help you out in all this. Don't get tripping over the car in front of you in all this race.
And by the way, Craig Williams has rolled himself onto track, so not sure exactly why he missed the starting grid, but still only 13 seconds adrift, so with a couple of good laps, Williams might be back inside the Joker window. Stevens being chased down by Aero. In fact, never mind, Craig Williams, as you take a look on the left-hand side of your screen, has already taken to the Joker, so he's not going to be a contender for one of our 2 trips to the feature. Quirkatai's in that bubble, so is Bilko Williams. As Stevens runs wide, hangs the rear end loose. Aero a little bit too far behind to take advantage. Back onto the tarmac they go.
And once again, in these all-star races, 2 qualify for the feature race here from this C main, as Quirk takes to the Joker and moves up to the lead.
And as Trevor Teal has pointed out in our iRacing Twitch chat, this is iRacing's version of a battle royale. So really, I mean, with only 2 drivers advancing, you might see a bit more physical action heading into those final couple of laps. But as Quirkatai is now in your race lead, Stevens and Aero can't afford to trip over one another because Bilko Williams well and truly in that Joker Delta. But we've seen on occasion just how difficult it is to execute on the Joker. Stevens almost goes for a ride over one of those anti-cut curbs that's waiting to greet you on the inside of every single one of these corners. Bilko Williams waiting to the final lap to take his Joker.
But we've seen previous years that, oh, is that Quirk in the wall? I just saw it. It is! Quirk's gone off. That's an absolute nightmare. He had this one sewn up there.
Quirk has done a quirk, unfortunately, as he now lands rather nose down on the jump. Stevens in control then once more. Bilko Williams will take to the Joker and will emerge free and clear from the rest of these cars. Quirk is 1.3 seconds behind. He's had the pace. Does he have enough time? There goes Bilko Williams in the Team Yokohama Monster Energy car. Very well executed there, so Bilko Williams will be out clear. 2 seconds in front of Tim Stevens. Looks like Stevens is just in front of Aero, and Quirkatai is not able to recover from that mistake last time around. So Bilko Williams wins the first of the last chance qualifiers. Roadshow's own Tim Stevens advances with him. We say goodbye to Aero, Quirkatai's Craig Setup Shop, and Justin Melillo. So here is a look at what happened to Quirk. iRacing replay up on your screen, and well, it just doesn't get that car slowed down at all and straight into the wall, Paul.
Yeah, that's so easily done. Get up high, get your braking wrong, lock up, and it just sends you straight into the wall. Very little that you can do about that in that one, but there's your results up on screen right now.
Typical geodesic driver for Quirkatai's as Bilko Williams, Tim Stevens advance. Aero, Quirk, Craig Setup Shop, Justin Melillo, as stated, will be heading on home. So waiting to get to the starting grid for our second last chance qualifier. A very technical track here at the Iowa Speedway. Again, 0.66 miles, About 8 turns, 71% pavement, 29% dirt, and of course 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking through the corners that we do indeed use. Here's a look then at the Yokohama starting grid for the second last chance qualifiers. Trevor Teal in the Nitro Star Car will be on pole position on the inside on the run down into turn 1. Parker Kligerman involved in some big wrecks this past weekend at Talladega, trying to avoid being in the big one here. Luke Knapp, winner last time, wants to at least advance the feature alongside Puck Vanek, Robbie Lyons, Roger Carruth on the final row of the grid. There is a look at the run down into turn 1, and I'm surprised, Paul, that we haven't seen the pole sitter being involved in a bit more contact on that braking zone and that entry into the right-hand sweeper.
Well done for giving the commentator's curse right there, Arjuna. So we're bound to have the craziest start of all time right now that you've said that. So fingers crossed we can all get through this first turn and have a tremendous final last chance qualifier.
Just doing it for our viewers and those who want some entertainment. 5 final laps on the board for the All-Stars as we go green in Iowa. Good launch from the entire grid. Around the outside, Kligerman trying to search for the race lead, but he loses control very slightly, holds on slow over the jump. Puck Vanek gives him the chrome horn, and oh my word, couple of cars into the tire barriers.
Yeah, there's some damage there on those two that hit the tyre barriers that protect the finish line, the gantry. Well, Luke Knapp finds himself in a very, very good position right now as Trevor Teal and also Puck Vanek take to the Joker.
I want to see what happened there, because we saw Kligerman getting a barge early, and then cars on his right side took to the Joker. Oh, sorry. Cars on his right side went into the tire barrier, and we saw a whole heap of calamity go on from there. Knapp saw Trevor Teal take to the Joker and realized how important clean air was going to be. So that's why Knapp's still out there, as you can see, just behind Knapp. Kligerman, a little bit wide through turns 1 and 2. And oh, Puck Vanek, what's happened there?
Well, he's gone around is what's happened there. Yeah, Puck Vanek has found himself facing the wrong direction. So something's happened to him out there that we've caught off camera. Here's a replay of the start there. So it was Robbie Lyons and also Roger Carruth who both ended up in that wall, and then just a little bit of help round. Well,
I think what happened is, as a result of the contact with Kligerman, Vanek spat himself off sideways, so off to the right and into the path of Robbie Lyons and Roger Carruth, and not much they could really do at that point in time. Side by side, Teal and Kligerman heading into that left-hand hairpin back onto the banking. Both of these drivers have jokered, and as Knapp has taken to the Joker this time around, looks like it'll be Knapp and Kligerman that advance. What's happened to Puck Vanek? Because, well, it says he's scored in first, but he's stationary, so indeed just a timing issue there. Oh, here's a look at an iRacing replay at what happened to Puck Vanek. So that transition over onto the asphalt, well, he clips those anti-cut curbs that are waiting to spin you around, and spin him around indeed.
Yeah, that will just affect you so much, and yeah, you've got to watch those anti-cut curbs. But how great is this, though, that we get such a mix of drivers here in the All-Stars, and everybody's fighting each other. Parker Kligerman finds himself second place at the moment, and in a very, very good spot right now, because Robbie Lyons is nowhere near enough, even with a Joker lap to come.
Yeah, so Knapp and Kligerman, unless we see a desperation lunge from Teal, looking comfortable as it's the final trip around here at the Iowa Speedway. Kligerman using the turtle curbs. He's got fast on his car, and he's going fast around the Iowa Speedway. Potentially the first time that Kligerman is on a rallycross racing, period, whether it be in the real world or virtual. But winner last time out was Luke Knapp. And after having to make his way through the last chance qualifiers once more, he will advance. Knapp and Kligerman through to the feature. It will be Trevor Teal, Robbie Lyons, Puck Vanek, and Roger Carruth saying goodbye from the Hawkeye State. So here's a look at your results for the second of these last chance qualifiers as we wait for Robbie Lyons to cross the finish line. Puck Vanek, Roger Carruth not even advancing through the first opening couple of laps. They will be DNF. Knapp and Kligerman ready to rumble for 10 laps to close off our All-Star Invitational Round 3 here from the Iowa Speedway. the All-Stars never disappoint, Paul. I think that's what we know for certain.
They're always entertaining, aren't they? So, yeah, definitely fun to watch these guys duke it out. And, yeah, mix of talents and a mix of driving, driving backgrounds. And it all comes together, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love this.
Well, we've said goodbye to a number of drivers, but 10 laps more left in our All-Star Invitational. Don't go anywhere. Feature racing coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Along for the ride is Paul Smith with Tyler Maxon in the production booth controlling all the action. And well, Paul, All-Stars, always so much fun. We've still got 10 more laps of action. An entry list that has such an eclectic group of drivers. Where else could you do this other than the iRacing service?
Absolutely, it's tremendous. These all-star races are always so entertaining, and it's what we grow to expect. As I said just before we went to break, where else do you get that combination of driver skill and also driver background in the world of motorsport? You don't really see it, apart from here on iRacing with the iRacing Rallycross Invitational. But yeah, these All-Stars, they're doing a fantastic job. Well, we've got one final race to go, and it's 10 laps, full inverted grid as normal. 10 drivers out there, all fighting out for a win.
And I think a driver who is joining us for the first time, Casey Kerwin, is going to be quite hard to beat in that eNASCAR Coca-Cola Star car because, well, as practice is underway right now, you can see about just over 60 seconds left on the clock before we'll get into that 10-lap feature. Kerwin, more than 1 second clear of the rest of the field. So incredible. And just a reminder that, in a world where the type of driver isn't necessarily multi-dimensional. I mean, you've got Kyle Larson as maybe the exception who's able to really do it all, but there's not much crossover at this point, right, Paul? I mean, the idea of a driver winning the Triple Crown in racing, which is, mostly road course stuff other than the Indy 500, isn't really a thing anymore. You harken back to the old years of racing where drivers used to do it all, the likes of Mario Andretti. It's something that you do see here on the iRacing service.
Yeah, Graham Hill is another one as well, the Triple Crown winner from the past. But yeah, it's something that various cars having issues there in practice. Don't worry, it's only practice, it's not the race, so it's fine to do it now. Get it out of the system. But yeah, again, the iRacing service, it's a tremendous way of trying out new things. It's like I personally, iRacing, I never, until I did use this service, I'd never touched an oval course. I got my my C license. I'm up to a C license now, so I'm working my way through the oval stuff, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it as well. And you can as well. So yeah, check out iRacing.com for further details.
and I believe 40% off on all new memberships as well. So start your iRacing career as we get ready to take a look at your Yokohama starting grid for our 10-lap inverted feature event in the All-Star Invitational. Parker Kligerman on pole position. What a battle he's been in so far. He'll have plenty of action heading down into turn 1 and across the jump as well. Alongside will be Tim Stevens, while Luke Knupp and Blake Bilko Williams share row number 2. Landon Huffman alongside Connor Barry, the first drivers who advanced through the heat races. So that's through 6th position. GoPro Lopez, Jamie Fluke in 7th and 8th positions. Parker Retzlaff, Casey Kerwin on the final row. And of course, Casey Kerwin in this inverted feature event has plenty of work to do. Quick prediction from you, Paul. I'm going Casey Kerwin. Who do you think's going to win here?
Yeah, Casey's been so quick around here, but don't write off somebody like Jamie Fluke. He likes to get his shoulders out in racing, and I think we'll see that here today. One
of the nicest guys in sim racing, but also very capable of winning no matter what car you put him in. 10 laps on the board. We are ready to go feature racing in the All-Star Invitational. And we are green in Iowa. Good start from Kligerman, who's going to control the field. A little bit of bumping and barging. Hoffman getting together with Blake Bilko Williams, but Kligerman over the jump and in control. In 2nd position, Connor Barry, +4 from where he started. As over the curve goes Luke Knupp. He's up to 2nd now.
As we've had already people taking to the Joker as well. Luke Knupp, he's headed down there. Quite a few actually taking to the Joker in these early stages. But yeah, there was issues for Bilko, who I think was around at one point at the start. And Connor Barry into the wall.
And that sounded like a blown engine as well, but over the jump and across the start-finish line, Casey Kerwin from the tail end to 1st in just 1 lap. Now trying to run away from Landon Huffman, who's now battling with Luke Knupp. I think Knupp got a slowdown there because we saw him going very slowly at the exit of that Joker and that merge back onto the banking. Knupp gets past on Huffman. Stevens, the first of the cars yet to come down onto the Joker. GoPro Lopez goes this time around. Still behind Casey Kerwin though, so Kerwin in a commanding position at this point in time, is a little bit sideways, gets Tim Stevens.
Stevens did manage to find himself ahead of Parker Kligerman though that lap, so he's managed to get ahead and get himself into a possible transfer spot. But if he wants to win this one, he needs to take the Joker lap this time by.
We'll see what happens as Stevens over the jump. Does he commit? It's only lap 3 of 10. He's starting to find himself out of the Joker bubble. GoPro Lopez is hunting down Casey Kerwin, though, as we look at Retzlaff, who's battling. Kligerman is going to go through the Joker this time around. He's going to be side by side with Retzlaff. Kligerman through the banking has that high line where you can sweep around the outside, but Retzlaff deep under the brakes, locks up, but holds on to the position. So Kligerman emerges then in 6th position. Kerwin and GoPro Lopez, 1 second separates them, and Jamie Fluke not too far behind. Does look as though for a 3rd consecutive week we'll have a 3rd consecutive winner, so all sorts of exciting stuff here in the All-Star Invitationals. There's a look at Parker Kligerman in the E-Racer machine, now being chased down by Landon Huffman.
Yeah, Huffman's trying his best to make the move, and well, when you make a mistake like that, you rather make it easy for your competitor, and Huffman says, "Thank you very much, Parker, I'll go to the inside."
You can see just how much they're locking up the brakes into that braking zone. Huffman has squirreled his way through, and the gap out front is now down to 0.6 of a second. Here's a look at the iRacing replay as up and over the jump. This is on lap number 1. We'll wait and see. You can see Bilko Williams in the background goes very sideways, but Luke Knupp gets over the turtle, and that gave him that slowdown penalty we were talking about. So you can see very cautious through the Joker, and then has to come to an almost complete stop there.
Yeah, and that's it. You get given a finite amount of time to be able to serve that slowdown penalty as well, and that means that he had to get that done, served, out the way, and then back up to speed. Tim Stevens, he's missed out on that opportunity of trying to get into the lead, because if you are a slower car and you've got that Joker Delta, if you were inside that Joker Delta like he was earlier, he could have done the Joker and tried to get ahead of the others and then try and block them, back them up to try and keep a good position. But right now he's just dropping further and further back.
You can see that these cars minimizing the distance through the banking as Once more, just smoke pouring out of the tires as hard onto the anchors these guys go. GoPro Lopez sitting quite nicely in second in that Team Fordzilla Ford. Always good when you can commentate on a Team Fordzilla car that's actually a Ford, because we've seen these guys compete across the iRacing service in BMWs. I've commentated on one of their drivers in Mazda MX-5s. Such a variety of cars you can drive here on the iRacing service, but Kerwin now 1.3 seconds clear, so calm and consistent has got him in clear. Fluke tries to throw it down the inside of GoPro Lopez, who's having none of it, gets his elbows out, forces Jamie Fluke very slightly sideways. They're still side by side. Lopez will try the over-under. He gets a little bit too sideways. Jamie Fluke to second.
That was nicely set up by Jamie there. Got the move, stuck it to the inside, gave it a little bit of a shoulder. I told you he's not afraid to get the old shoulder out there. And Fluke nicely ahead of GoPro Lopez. He's going to try and chase down Kerwin, but with 2 seconds back and only, what, 2.25 laps remaining, that's going to be a tall order for Jamie.
Yeah, I think he's just a bit too far in there. You can see left side of the screen, the Jokers. Tim Stevens still yet to go, but at this point looking at only being able to cycle his way to 6th as a result of that 11-second shortcut. So 2 more trips around this Rallycross configuration of the Iowa Speedway. Lopez going for a ride on the landing there. Something's happened to Luke Knapp in the 077 car. I'm not sure. Race winner last time out now might be jumped by Tim Stevens when he comes down onto the Joker, so not an easy day for a driver that's won 2 Jim Beaver Esports short course races on the trucks that are available here on the dirt road side of iRacing. But after winning last time out, we'll surely see him once more heading to victory lane, as here's a driver searching for victory across the line one more time. For Iowa Speedway, it's Casey Kerwin in the lead.
Yeah, one of the drivers with the greatest head of hair in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, and he's doing a superb job out there, and he thoroughly deserves a race win here.
It's great to see the Fords on display as well, because when we get to the World Championship, it's become very much dominated by Subarus. That's been the trend in the last 2 years, but Ford, VW, still very strong. Casey Kerwin in the eNASCAR Star Car across the line. He wins our All-Star Invitational round number 3. Jamie Fluke, GoPro Lopez will be second and third. Parker Retzlaff almost hunted down GoPro Lopez in the closing stages. Knapp makes contact with Tim Stevens. Stevens pointed in the wrong direction. He took the Joker on the last lap, but Stevens will only finish down in 8th position.
Oh, it's all gone wrong there as well for Parker Kligerman, who's obviously having a bit of fun trying to drive his car on its side. But yeah, unfortunate for Tim Stevens there, getting together and finding the wall.
It's all about having some fun, isn't that right? And Parker Kligerman showing exactly what this is all about. But here's a look then at your results. Round 3 of the All-Star Invitational for 2021 is in the books, and we have a third different winner in 3 different races. It's Casey Kerwin in the 38 machine. Jamie Fluke, GoPro Lopez makes it an all sim racers podium here with Parker Retzlaff, Landon Huffman, Luke Knapp through the top 6. Tim Stevens, Parker Kligerman, and Connor Barry through 9th position. Connor Barry didn't get past lap number 2. Bilko Williams didn't get past the start. He is scored as 10 laps down and a DNF. We'll take a look at an iRacing.com replay. Not exactly sure what our attention is going to be drawn to here, but I have a feeling it is something involving the car that we saw upside down on its roof heading into this checkered flag. It's Parker Kligerman. Something happened as a result of that Knapp and Stevens incident. Well, Kligerman didn't technically cross the start-finish line, Paul.
No, and I think that's why it's gone and scored him down in 8th place, getting himself a time penalty for launching himself off the side of the jump.
Well, someone did a barrel roll, and unfortunately it was Parker Kligerman. We're going to take a short break here on the iRacing Esports Network. Don't go anywhere. We'll have post-race coverage of the All-Star Invitational next here. Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for post-race coverage of the 2021 iRacing All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Alongside for today's action is Paul Smith, with Tyler Maxon controlling the action from the virtual production truck. And we have our interview standing by, so let's bring in our race winner here at the fastest short track on the planet. It's Casey Kerwin, who drives in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series for the XSEC Gaming team. Casey, do we have a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, Casey, you are a multi-dimensional driver. You have competed in world championships here on iRacing in multiple disciplines. Rallycross, I think this was your first endeavor, and clearly had a lot of fun and lots of success as well.
Yeah, it was good fun. I haven't done Rallycross in a while. I really enjoyed it when it first came out, and I did it a good bit, but I haven't really done it in a long time. So, yeah, I was happy to get the invite, come have some fun, and do it in more of a competitive sense, I guess. So it was a good time.
And so you started from the tail end of that race as well. So that must have been fun, because inverts are always just such an exciting thing. So how was that at the start, where we saw plenty of chaos over the jump?
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying. Well, I got lucky in my heat. I think they wrecked, so I was already like clear, had no one around me over the jump. But then in the feature, I think we were like 3 wide at the base of the jump. So thankfully, I didn't get landed on. I didn't land on anyone, and we were able to get through turn 1 clean after that. So I was pretty worried about the jump, but it worked out, and we were able to go on to win.
And so let's talk about your eNASCAR 2021 campaign for the XSEC guys. I mean, 2 podiums so far, and pretty solidly locked yourself into the top 20 as well. So you must be pretty happy, because, of course, there's a rather memorable Twitch clip of what happened last year and the excitement of locking yourself into this year's campaign.
Yeah, especially after last year, we just had so much bad luck, and this year we've kind of had some good luck in senses. And, you know, it kind of sucks. We didn't make the playoffs, but we had a really good year. I think up until Dega, we were like tied for most top 10s on the season. So, yeah, it's been a good year. Unfortunately, we didn't get a win to get in the playoffs, but nonetheless, it's been a good one, and we're still fighting for 11th, kind of best of the rest, and hopefully we can beat Ottinger out for that Texas next week.
And so you mentioned Texas next week. Give us a preview of what it's going to be like in the Lone Star State. Of course, like you said, not in the Final Four fighting for the championship, but for the rest of the drivers, there's still plenty on the line, and you know, pride as well. When you're at that level, bragging rights is definitely something you all look for. Right,
yeah. I think it's, I'm not really sure how it'll race. You know, Texas being the new configuration, I'm not sure how to race. We do have the new arrow and stuff, which I think can maybe help with passing a little bit. But I'm not sure how like the dirty air and stuff will work. But I'm sure it'll be a crazy race, and I'm sure, just like it always is, the Final Four will be right at the front, and there'll be some sort of restart tire strategy call within like 30 to go again, as always, and shake things up. So hopefully for us, we can just make the right call and get a good finish and get a solid end of the season, and hopefully it's a good show for the fans for the Final Four going for it.
One more question, and we'll let you go. Of course, with your eNASCAR campaign, you know, coming to a close in a couple of weeks' time, what's the rest of the year look like for you? Are we going to see you in some more of these invitationals, and what else are you going to be up to on your Twitch channel?
Yeah, I think if I have the opportunity, I'd like to come running some more of this invitational stuff. I'll probably go to more road, do some more road regularly after the season ends. I always like to kind of get a road season in, have some fun. So. Yeah, that's probably what I'll be doing. You know, maybe now I have to throw some Rallycross in there. It was fun. But yeah, we'll see. It's just be streaming about the same time, just running probably some more road. So we'll still do some NASCAR stuff, but have some more road involved.
Congratulations, Casey. Hopefully we'll see you in action then in our next race from Brands Hatch, but winner here from the Iowa Speedway.
Thank you.
So that was Casey Kerwin. I can tell you, a man who our broadcast team will be delighted to have back, just because he sent us a webcam feed like you saw right there. So great to take a look at Casey as we talk to him as well. But we are ready. The All-Stars are done. Sim Racing's best ready to race in round 3 of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship entered by Yokohama. Don't go anywhere. World Championship action coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you?
At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat.
Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
In 2018, Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
It's time for round 3 in the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati alongside is Paul Smith as we get ready for round 3 in our 2021 World Championship. The first 2 races have been blockbuster showdowns. I mean, some of the best racing we've seen across the 4 seasons of World Championship Rallycross action here on the iRacing service, Paul. But now at one of the most technical, the most tricky tracks to master, where Joker strategy is ever so important. I have no idea who's going to come out on top here. This is really one where I could see a first-time winner winning here in the 2021 World Championship.
Well, it's one of those courses where anything can happen here, and you know, one little bit of contact, we saw it in the All-Stars, a little bit of contact, suddenly end up facing the wrong way or in a wall or off the side of a jump. So you never write off anybody at this venue, and it's certainly a challenging course. We've seen how strategy with the Joker Lab has played out so far this season, but I do have to say these drivers here today are going to have a tough act to follow last week, because that was some of the best Rallycross action I have seen in this series, period.
And you know, I think it's maybe only challenged by the first race we had here in 2018, where Joni Heikkinen and Mitchell de Jong were fighting side by side. I didn't realize that Garrett Lowe still had the Joker Delta, and so on the final lap, Lowe pounced and became the only driver in 3 seasons of competition leading into 2021 to have won after coming through those last chance qualifiers. So you can fight here side by side, but it is one that definitely doesn't let you get away with it if you're not thinking about it right. And let's talk about last week, Paul, because for Vicente Salas, I mean, honestly, what a start to this campaign he's had. 2 consecutive top 5s, and if not for Johan Harth maybe playing the team game and bumping and barging with Salas coming through those last couple of laps, I think he would have taken his first World Championship win here in Rallycross action. He's definitely one to watch as we head to the fastest short track on the planet.
Yeah, he certainly is. He just seemed to just come from nowhere. He suddenly has this bit of confidence in himself, doesn't he? He seems to have a real belief in what he can do now, which is great to see after he admits, not the best of seasons last year. So good to see him get that good sort of result there. Kevin Ellis Jr. as well, last time out, had a very, very solid result for his first season, don't forget, in this World Championship level. So he is looking for more. He wants podiums, he wants wins. He knows one thing to do, and that's go fast.
And I was hoping we get to talk to Jamie Fluke after the All-Star Invitational, because I wanted to ask him about Kevin Ellis Jr. and the way that he's kind of been kicking things off here. Also, would just like to shout out Jarno Leskinen, 13 years of age, one of the youngest drivers in World Championship history, has made the feature in each of our last each of our two feature races so far. Very much looking like a strong candidate for Dirtfish Rookie of the Year. But you take a look on board with Kevin Ellis Jr. This is a driver, so much focus, so much determination. He won for Rahal Letterman Lanigan on their debut in esports competition earlier in 2021. Now trying to put the red and black Subaru STI into victory lane in this iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Well, only a couple of minutes from getting into the qualifying action, and 5 minutes, 3 laps for drivers to set their fastest lap times. Here's a look at our schedule once more, and like we were saying earlier, 3 races in the US to kick things off. Then we'll head to one of the newest tracks on the iRacing Rallycross schedule, Brands Hatch, then heading to another new track in the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, Hell-Lankenbahn, which saw 2 races last year in 2020, will play host to round 6 for heading back to the US for Phoenix, Sonoma, and to close things off, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hopefully a race that will get under the nights. History that would be for a iRacing Rallycross race under the night lights. Let's talk a little bit, though, about this track, the Iowa Speedway. Plenty of series have come here. The NTT IndyCar series being my favorite. It comes here and puts speeds in excess of 250 kilometers an hour regularly, even through the corners. But here it is supercars, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. That's crucial on the run down into the first corner. We start on pit road, sweep ourselves right across the jump and over the start-finish line. 8 turns, 71% asphalt, 29% dirt. And that joker, you can see it in yellow, Paul. It's a lot more tricky than it would appear there. Making sure you don't hit the wall is going to be crucial because it's an 11-second shortcut.
Absolutely. You need to be absolutely millimeter perfect through that and carry as much speed as possible through that joker lap. So yeah, these drivers, they are pushed to the limit here around this venue.
And don't go too wide through the joker. Josh Fox and Johan Harth found that out to their chagrin in 2018. You'll end up upside down on your roof in both of their cases. Let's talk then about the standings with 2 rounds in the books, and you'll take a look at that red line. That is relegation from the series. The top 10 are locked in for 2022 on our World Championship. But up front, it is very, very close. The top 5 separated by just 15 points. But consistency for John Robertson have seen him hold on to the championship lead, 4 points clear of Joni Ollikainen. You'll also denote your championship leader in each of these races with that red number, and also a red live broadcasting, red windshield banner on their car, so just makes it easier to denote the championship leader. Salas in 3rd, Johan Harth, the defending champion, in 4th, Tommy Holman in 5th. 5 drivers, it could go any way heading into the second half of this season now, Paul.
Absolutely. John Robertson got used to having that red number and red banner on his car last season, and well, he's trying to make use of that once again this season.
And just to give you a little bit of an update, as we've got still 5 minutes left to go in practice, but we should be heading to qualifying very shortly. Garrett Maines is going to be racing in the Ford Fiesta this week. It was a mistake on his part. Drivers are actually required to be in the same manufacturer over the course of the season, but because of a mistake on Maines' part in getting himself ready for the race, Race Control has allowed him to run here today. Let's talk about predictions, though, with qualifying about to begin. Paul, why don't you go first?
Well, after the disappointment of not making it through to the feature last week, I've gone ahead and picked Tommy Holman. He'll want to really pick it up from the disappointment last week and get himself back into that championship battle.
I don't think it's a bad pick. He won at Daytona. It was a strong race from Set Esports, and I've also gone with a Set Esports driver, but one who's racing for the Set and Gronholm RX combination. I think Rasmus Torminen will win here today. His first feature appearance in 2020 came at this track He ended up on the podium. I think that red Set Esports machine will be very, very rapid. So qualifying has begun. 5 minutes, 3 laps. The track is to yourself. You are all by yourself to set your fastest lap time. Sometimes we do see cars doing 1 lap at a time, which does mean you only get 2 flying attempts at setting a qualifying lap here at the 0.66 mile, 8-turn Iowa Speedway road rallycross configuration. Let's take a look on board with Bo Albert through the first couple of corners. Look at how he tries to minimize the distance in very stark contrast to what we saw with the All-Stars. Then onto the tarmac, and look at how he's trying to just maintain his momentum. Throw yourself to the left and hug yourself to the inside of the apex and set yourself up to rejoin the banking here. It's a hairpin. You might see some cars using the handbrake, but not always the quickest way around. But now minimize your distance and set yourself up for the braking zone. Straight braking and tight to the apex, because now back onto the dirt and over the jump, it's crucial to make sure you are turned in. Albert over the jump. Lap time a 35.945. So for Albert, that's put in provisional third, but plenty of time still yet to come in. Here's your defending, I should say, current championship leader.
Yes, he certainly is. There you see that red banner on his windscreen, heading through those first couple of corners here, using the anti-cut curbs, trying to use them to actually turn the car around the corner, which on the asphalt, it can be a little bit tricky. The cars can understeer just that little bit, with it being four-wheel drive. Out of that, you just hear how low the revs are and the way it pulls through there, up through the gears, back onto the brakes, and the young man from Aylesbury doing a tremendous job. Misses that wall on the inside, up over the timing barrier, timing line.
Well, and he's put himself then, actually I don't think that lap counted. I think he might have hit the wall potentially there. So we'll have to wait and see if Robertson can go quicker. The Mains elects to back out of that lap time. Here is your defending champion though. This is the Frenchman, Johan Haar. He started off his World Championship fall in very impressive fashion. Bounced back from disappointment at Daytona with a podium last time out, but also competing in the Force Dynamics Dallara Grand Prix Championship. Harth has had 3 consecutive podiums to kick that World Championship off. Currently top though, a driver that we said might be very, very quick, Salas, with a 35.423. Robertson, John Robertson, because there are 2 Robertsons in the field, currently second, less than 300ths between the 2 of them. Harth now through the final corner. What's the lap time gonna be for the Frenchman? Interesting landing there, and he straight lines across the line as well. Harth only 6th fastest, a driver that we know can go very quick in qualifying. Robertson goes quicker, now 3,000th faster than the 55 car.
Oh my goodness, look at how close this field is here today. It's tremendous. 22 of the cars all within 1 second of each other. We're going to see some tight battles out there, everybody. Hang on to your hats, because this is going to be a tremendous, tremendous race here today. I'm looking forward to it. Garrett Baines, can he get this final corner right? He'll be hoping so. He had to abandon a lap. Give it a go, up over the jump, and he doesn't keep it floored on the throttle unlike some. He wanted that good landing.
Yeah, if you floor the throttle, you'll raise the nose of the car. That's just the way that gravity works and the forces that you put in when you spin those rear tires. Attu Hakoleto, got close to the wall. I think that was his quickest lap time, so provisionally 17th for him. Should be noted as well that in our World Championship qualifiers that led into this 2021 World Championship, this track was not on the qualifying schedule. So for our 11 rookies in the field, a new challenge for them to master. For someone like Josh Fox, for Johan Harth, 4 races in 3 World Championship years for them. They've got plenty of experience, but that experience counts for naught if you don't get it together when qualifying counts. And currently Robertson out front, looking for a 2nd consecutive pole position and a 2nd consecutive Yokohama pole award. Salas in 2nd. Kevin Ellis Jr., who has been very impressive. First in the qualifiers, then in the World Championship, sits in 3rd. Olakainen Holman 4th and 5th. Then you find your defending series champion Johan Harth down in 6th position. He'll have some work to do, but we know just how quick those Subaru Motorsports cars can be when we go racing. Yokohama pole award then for the 2nd consecutive time goes to John Robertson, his 3rd career pole position. He'll start on the front of our first heat of the races. We'll take a look at our Yokohama starting grid. Alongside will be Tommy Holman, our winner in round number 1. It's an all-Altus row 2 with Luis Nunez, the rookie, inside of Bo Albert. Atu Hakaleto, 14 years of age, alongside Garrett Maines, one of the most improved drivers of 2020. What can Maines do, though, here in the wrong car? Might just throw off his practice as well. 7 cars in this heat. It means Sindre Silva will be the odd man out, starting down in 7th position. So here we go, Paul. World Championship action. And I think that run down into turn number 1 is going to be fraught with danger.
Absolutely, and Nunez is in an ideal spot on the inside. He'll be looking for that inside line into turn 1, but you've got to watch for those water barrels at the end of pit road.
So here we go. Iowa has produced some thrillers over the year, and now we are ready to race in the cornfields in 2021. And we are green from Iowa. It's a good launch from Robertson. Hakaleto immediately gets the elbows out, but Silva will send it down the inside out front. Robertson leads across the jump. It was a good launch from Nunez, and he's now challenging Tommy Holman. Not going to be able to do enough, and it's Albert who's going to turn around his teammate very slightly. 3 wide. Sindre Silva with the elbows out forces Bo Albert to the Joker.
Yeah, I don't think that was his choice there. I think that was a case of either take the Joker lap or end up at the back of the field. So that's what Bo's decided to do, and it's actually got himself some clean air. And to be honest, that might not be a bad thing for Bo here, but nice, good start for the front drivers. And Robertson, Holman, they're going to be trying to keep within that Joker lap delta.
Oh, Nunez getting sideways over the jump, able to hold on to that car, and you can see just how much control these drivers have over their cars. The way that even when they're sideways over the jump, they know exactly what to do. As this time it's Nunez who will elect to take that Joker, come in front of his teammate. So Altus, they might be in a bit of a pickle with their drivers potentially heading to those consolations. Hakaleto is also elected to take to the Joker this time around. Robertson, Holman, Silva, and Maines yet to take 11-second shortcut. Looking rearwards then from Luis Nunez as his teammate chases him down.
Well, I think the Altus, Logitech G Altus Esports team will be delighted to see their sponsors getting a lot of airtime, but Subaru Motorsports USA driver John Robertson, there you go, to the Joker lap he goes, jumps in front of everybody else. He's got a nice clear windshield in front of him.
2 seconds in front of Nunez, and you saw just how much speed Robertson was able to carry through that Joker. It was very, very impressive, the control that he had. In 2019, Robertson actually missed out on the feature race at this track. Last year was a little bit better, ended up finishing behind his teammate. Here we go then. Couple of laps left to go, waiting for Holman and Silva to come down onto the Joker, and Holman 12.5 seconds behind, is just a little bit too far behind, I think, to try and snatch the race lead away, but definitely looking comfortable to take second. Maines just a little bit too far behind. I think Maines will very much be heading to that last chance qualifiers, as Silva is taken to the Joker this time around, comes out in 4th.
Certainly does. But there's the man who hasn't taken a Joker lap yet, Tommy Holman. And he better get himself into that feature race as soon as I picked him. As he comes through now. And there's your leader on the bottom screen. Holman on the top. There he goes to the Joker.
Is it going to be enough? You can see the speed that Holman's built out. He'll be in front of Nunez. It was close with Nunez, not as close as with Robertson. So Robertson, for a second consecutive week, Yokohama Pole Award winning heat number 1. The English driver looking comfortable as he looks for consistency to build a World Championship campaign. Tommy Holman finishes in 2nd, will advance straight to the feature. Luis Nunez leads the drivers into the last chance qualifiers. Bo Albert, Sindre Silva, Garrett Maines, and Atu Hakaleto all having to wait then for their chance for 5 more laps, where one driver will advance in those last chance qualifiers. Heat number 2 ready to grid already. Fast and frenetic Rallycross action. So here's a look then at your Yokohama starting grid. Vicente Salas, after a 2nd place finish last time at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, starts in 2nd. He'll be alongside the driver that he dueled with in the Peach State, Johan Hart, the defending Rallycross World Champion. Kilian Delhomme alongside Jacob Rafos, Louis Lejeune, and Matt Busa 5th and 6th. Matt Busa racing from Logan Clampett's house. So they're having a bit of a watch party. Logan Clampett, Michael Conti, the roommates. Thomas Wangan in the 64 machine for Team Yokohama Yokohama will complete our 7 cars in this heat number 2 as we get ready for 5 more laps of heat racing action. It's a very strong front row, but watch out for Killian Dalomo on the inside to try and make something happen. And away we go. Dalomo gets the whole shot. It's a great launch. Salas gets bullied, and he's going to turn Johan Harth. Harth over and over he goes. Killian Dalomo to the race lead.
Wow, wow, wow. What a start there. What a dramatic moment there for Johan Harth. Well, your reigning champion now finds himself at the back of the field, and he's not going to be happy at all with Vicente Salas.
And I tell you what, Harth has not really had the best of lucks here at the Iowa Speedway. Last year was the first year he made the feature, and of course he did win, but he's going to be frustrated, and now very much with some damage to that Subaru Motorsport USA machine. Lots of work to do heading through the last chance qualifiers. This is the track where our one and only driver that has won from a last chance qualifier has taken to victory lane. That was Garrett Lowe, our inaugural Iowa race back in 2018. That was round 5. Here's a look at the replay. On board with the Elliott Sadler Esports machine, you can see the contact. Further contact, up and over goes Harth.
To be fair to Salas there, it was a little bit of a bump from Killian Dalomo on the inside line that sent him across into Harth there, and well, you saw very little that they could do about it afterwards.
So there's Matt Busa in the US Air Force Ed Carpenter racing machine, like we said, racing from Logan Clampett's house, so he's going to be in some unfamiliar surroundings when it comes to the actual simulator that he's racing with. We're on board with the Team Yokohama machine of Thomas Wangen. It's a Norwegian affair for Yokohama. Sindre Silva, their second driver, as there goes Jacob Rafoss to the Joker lap. He'll emerge in front of Louis Lejeune and might look as though he'll advance his way straight into the feature. It would be Rafoss's first feature event of the season. One of the youngest drivers in the field, 14 years of age.
Yeah, the young Norwegian getting himself there. He's right on the tail of Killian Dalomo as well. Another driver who has a tremendous amount of experience here in the IRX series. So definitely good to see these rookie drivers starting to get involved, starting to get in the mix of the World Championships into the features. But never say never. There's 1 lap left. I think Johan Harth, looking at the timings, he's way, way, way back. He's 17.5 seconds off your race leader right now. He'll be lucky to even get into the top 6.
Yeah, I think he's a bit too far behind even to jump past Salas in what is now 6th position. So looks like 2 Ed Carpenter racing machines having to go through the consolation. The Sonax car of Louis Lejeune being chased down by his teammate Matt Busa. Thomas Wangen then sits in 5th. Vicente Salas in 6th with Johan Harth at the tail end of the field. It is the final lap this time around. Is Salas going to have a move? I think he's a bit too far behind to try, but Killian Dalomo wins heat number 2. And over the jump he goes. Oh, Salas makes contact with Wang, and Harth is going to skip on through, and that's crucial. Might not get him to the feature, but it will get him some good starting position for the last chance qualifiers.
Oh, that's crucial, is that for Johan? And, well, it all panned out for him in the end there.
So Killian Dalomo got the whole shot on the launch, wins Heat 2. Jacob Rafoss in second advances to his first feature of the season. Louis Lejeune, Matt Busa, Johan Harth, Thomas Wangen, Vicente Salas through to the last chance qualifiers. Heat number 3, as we take a look at the Yokohama starting grid, has Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan out front. Kevin Ellis Jr. and Jake Robertson on the front row looking to advance both cars to the 10-lap feature. Jarno Leskinen and Josh Fox make it a Hanson Williams Esports row number 2, while Kligerman Sport has row 3. Marcos Matamoros shares with Quintin Dalomo. It's a team affair in the top 6, but Tommy Nukarainen in the 83 machine for Lonebro Team GRX will start in 7th. No matter how you shake it, 3 teams are going to be either very happy or very disappointed with how things go here. And we saw plenty of contact in Heat 2. 5 more laps on the board. 115 meters, that run down into the braking zone and that right-hand turn. Here we go. Heat 3, ready to rumble. was a long hold, but we are green. Good launch from the Rahal, Lenneman, Lanigan machines. The E-Racer cars for Kligerman Sport getting their elbows out, forcing, I think, Josh Fox down the running order. Very aggressive start, but out front and in control, it will be Jake Robertson, Kevin Ellis Jr. as more bumping and barging in the background.
Oh, we've got a car sideways as well. Around he goes. And that's going to be Josh Fox then. Oh dear, he's not having a good season at all, is Josh. They're one of the most experienced drivers out there on the grid, but look at that launch from the two Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan drivers.
Hey, you got it right this time, Paul.
I always get it right.
I'll have to go back and get the tape from the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. As up and over the jump these two go. Leskinen and Delomo are the only two drivers that have taken to the Joker. I think the Rahal guys will come in sync, but no. Jake Robertson is going to go early, trying to cover off Leskinen and Delomo, and it was a good job he did so, because just in front of the 13-year-old Leskinen comes Jake Robertson. We'll now have to wait and see if Kevin Ellis Jr. can use that clean air to his advantage and pull himself to the front of this heat.
Yeah, he had to respond there. His spotter made a great call, did Jake Spotter, and well, Leskinen now, he'll be hoping for a mistake from Kevin Ellis Jr. Of course, not a driver adept to the World Championship fully yet, and as it was pointed out, this particular track was not used in the qualifying round, so he's got a little bit less experience around here than some of his competitors, as Kevin.
And I tell you what, Leskinen in a similar boat when it comes to the lack of experience here, but so many good mentors for Leskinen, and of course, not just Sami Matty Trogan at Williams Esports, the 2019 chap, but Matti Alamaki, a 5-time European Rallycross champion, is a good friend of the Leskinen family, has been helping out Jarno in all of his endeavors. And it's always good when you have family support. Jarno's father, Jukka, does some work in sim racing as well, so understands that this is more than just a game, as Kevin Ellis Jr. to the Joker and emerges in the lead. So it is a Rahal, Lenneman, Lanigan 1 and 2. Final trip around for heat number 3.
Yeah, it started off as a Noah's Ark grid, didn't it? 2x2x2 for the teams, but it's all got a bit mixed up for this race, but the two at the front have stayed in the order that they started in.
And after missing out on the Joker first time around, missing out on the feature, I should say, first time around for Kevin Ellis Jr. at Daytona, finished in the top 5 from Atlanta, will be heading straight through to the feature. Will start in 3rd position. Matamoros will come out in front of his teammate Quintin Delomo, so he'll come in 4th. Jarno Leskinen for the 3rd consecutive race will have to head through the last chance qualifiers, but looking to maintain his 100% feature record. Rahal, Lenneman, Lanigan across the line 1 and 2. The first time this season we've seen 2 teammates transfer in the same heat.
And we had drama at the end there as well. It looked like there was even more contact on that penultimate corner.
Believe that was Quintin Delomo. Yes, it was indeed, to the Kligerman Sport driver, all the way down the rear end of the grid. So Kevin Ellis Jr., Jake Robertson advance, rest of the drivers through to the consolation races. And here we go, Heat 4, already ready to go. Set Esports out front, Joni Ollikainen in the 44 car, inside of Rasmus Torminen in the Set Esports Team GRX machine. Otto Taskinen has been impressive here in the past, finished 2nd in 2019. What can he do from 3rd on the grid? Tony Latin-Mackie and Alex Berger on the 2 Jim Beaver Esports car in 4th and 5th, while Luke Kraus in the 2nd Nitro Circus machine starts back in 6th. Oldest driver on the grid, Johannes Vahanen in the 00, will complete our running order. For Lonebro Team GRX, what can he do from the rear? 5 more laps of heat racing action. 2 automatic trips to the feature on the line. And the rest of the drivers will have to work their way through the last chance qualifiers. Engines begin to rev as Heat 4 is ready to go. We are racing for heat number 4. Good launch from everyone. They get off the line nicely. Set Esports 1 and 2. Taskinen trying to challenge Torminen over the jump. They'll be side by side. Long way around for Taskinen. He gets shoved off into the wall. Disaster for the Nitro Circus car. And I think that's Alex Bergeron that's had a bit more contact. He's sideways through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's not the ideal way through turns 1 and 2. It's not the ideal way to exit the the jump as well. So the Nitro Circus car finding himself in the wall, but able to get himself turned around quickly and back running, but will be carrying that damage throughout the rest of this race. But yeah, these drivers, they're all desperate. They're all wanting that final 2 automatic qualifying spots in the feature.
2 Canadians battling. Luke Kraus in front of Bergeron. As we'll take a look at the iRacing replay. Over the jump for Taskinen. Tuominen just a little bit sideways and off into the path of the Nitro Circus car. Not much the Finnish driver could do in that 199. I think that 199 definitely my favorite car on the grid in terms of its design. Ollikainen and Latinmäki have jokered. I think Bergeron went this time around to cover off Taskinen. Ollikainen in control. As left side of the screen, you can see those cars that have taken to the Joker and Bergeron's update. So he's taken to the Joker. Tuominen is within the Joker Delta and within the bubble to take the race lead as well here. So Tuominen might be on with a shot of winning heat number 4.
Oh, this is going to be tight. This is really going to be tight, and he's going for it now. He's not going to end up at the front here, but he's right behind Joni Ollikainen. Good Joker timing right there for Rasmus. Finds himself nicely between Joni and Tony.
Over the jump for Joni. I just love watching these cars land and the way that the weight transfers, and these guys just look so in control of their machines. It is really a testament to why we have 28 of the best sim racers on the grid here in 2021. There is Latinmäki for a brief moment. About 9/10 of a second behind Tuominen in 3rd position. Through the left-hand hairpin, back onto the banking here at Iowa. 1.3 seconds between Ollikainen and Tuominen, so I think Ollikainen has this one in control if he can keep things calm, keep things steady. One more trip around Iowa in heat number 4.
Yeah, this has been a nice demonstration run at the front for Joni right now, and he's looking very confident, very clear and calm at the front. Luke Kraus just outside of the Joker Delta, so I don't imagine him making it into the feature spots.
He might still come out in front of Latinmäki. That might be crucial when it comes to that grid positioning. I don't think he's managed to get that jump. He'll be behind Bergeron, but out front, SET Esports 1 and 2. Ollikainen with his 3rd straight heat win. He'll take the checkered flag in heat 4. Tuominen will advance with him. Latinmäki, the first of the cars heading to the last chance qualifiers. There's almost a photo finish between Bergeron and Kraus. Might we see a photo finish in our 10-lap feature? The rest of the cars across the line. Otto Taskinen, 0.04 of a second in front of Johannes Vähänen. That is the margin between those 2 cars, but it's Ollikainen and Tuominen that advance. Latinmäki and Bergeron, the Jimmy Beaver Esports cars, 3rd and 4th, as we now get ready for those last chance qualifiers. 8 cars already locked into our feature. In each of these next 2 races, 1 spot on the line. Luis Nunes inside of Jarno Leskinen, Bo Albert and Marcus Matamoros, 3rd and 4th positions. Sindre Silva and Tommi Nukarainen, 5th and 6th. While in 7th, it will be Garrett Maines, Josh Fox alongside. Fox with so much experience. What can he do in this one? Atu Akaletto and Quintin Delormo to complete the 10 cars ready to go. And 10 cars, Paul. I'm just thinking how much more chaos we might see on the run down into turn 1.
Bo Albert needs a terrific launch here, but he's got to watch out for his teammate trying to covering him off here. This is going to be a tremendous start to this first last chance qualifier.
5 more laps on the board. 1 spot on the line. Engines rev. Long hold. But we are green. 5 more laps of action. Nunes gets a good launch, able to cover off the move from Leskinen. Albert gets a bit of a bump. Albert's going to turn around Leskinen. It's been a chaotic season, to say the very least, for Albert. It continues. Leskinen and Albert getting mixed up. Leskinen's 100% feature race record is going to come to an end.
Oh, without a doubt, it's going to come to an end. It's chaos further back as well onto the Joker. Oh, well, this is just handing it on a plate to Luis Nunes right now.
That was 4 wide on the exit of turn 2, and just chaos. Absolute chaos. And Hakaletto, I think the car with the most misfortune that got spun around. But really, Bo Albert has, you said he might need to learn how to give it out before he gets into it, and I don't think he's necessarily picked up on that just yet. Might see a bit more aggression from the Australian heading into the next couple of rounds. So we now wait and see who's down onto the Joker this time around, because Matamoros is in a position where he might think about doing so, and he does indeed. He's going to come out, though, in second. Maines follows him through, looks to the inside, just a little bit too far behind. These guys 2 seconds behind Luis Nunez. That's a bit more contact for Maines, who stacks up Josh Fox and company. Excuse me, that's Jarno Leskinen, who somehow managed to fight his way back to second, but it's not going to matter. Luis Nunez is 3.5 seconds clear.
And this is the thing, these guys are fighting so hard and tripping over each other here further down the order that they're just allowing Luis Nunez to just waltz away at the front here. Yes, you want to try and get the best result that you can, but the whole point of this is to try and qualify for the feature race. None of these drivers are doing that.
I don't think it's necessarily a waltz. It might be a tango for Luis Nunez out front, given he's from Spain. But here comes Leskinen back down to the inside of Silva. Oh my, these guys are just really getting physical, and over the jump, Leskinen will be in front. Here's a look on the bottom at the iRacing replay at what happened there. So Leskinen and Albert come to blows. They're almost 4 wide over the jump, but here's where it gets a little bit more physical. Leskinen, not much he could do once he was shoved wide, but now sends it down the inside. Hakoleto, the meat of the sandwich, nowhere he could go. Sindre Silva takes to the Joker and spins Hakoleto around.
Well, Josh Fox has taken to the Joker lap this time and has actually found himself in second place because of all this fighting that's been going on here in this pack. So, I mean, it's the best of the rest. It's not where he'd want to be, packing up things at the end of this race, but Luis Nunez, he's done everything right in this race.
He'll be delighted as well. I mean, it's taken him 3 races, yes, but looks like the native of Almazora, Spain, will be finally heading through to a feature, unable to make it through to the top 10 in the last couple of rounds. Kind of a mirror race to what we saw last year. Both the last chance qualifiers had chaos that let your leader run away, and Nunez took full advantage. Nunez makes it through to his first feature in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Rest of your drivers, pack it all up and get ready for the trip to Brands Hatch in 7 days' time. Up and over the jump they come. And well, 10 cars, we thought the start may be chaotic. We didn't think it would be as chaotic as that one. Nunez wins by 3.5 seconds. Bo Albert will finish in 3rd position. Garrett Maines in 4th. Jarno Leskinen, Quintin Delhomme, Sindre Silva, Atu Hakoleto, Tommi Nukarainen, and Marcos Matamoros completes our 10 cars here. For Josh Fox, a track where he's had plenty of experience at, had some decent finishes in years past as well. Here's a look then at your grid for the second of our last chance qualifiers. Luis Lejeune in 1st, alongside Tony Latin-Mackie. Matt Busa alongside Alex Bergeron. Plenty of World Championship experience between the two of them. Johan Harth, the defending champion. Lots of work to do from 5th. He'll be alongside the Canadian Luke Krause. Thomas Wangen, Otto Taskinen, Vicente Salas, and Johannes Vahanen complete the 10 cars. We're already ready to go. 5 more laps for some of these drivers as away we go, and storing ourselves down 4 wide into that right-hand hairpin. Already a car going up and over. Not sure who that was. I think it's Matt Busa in the U.S. Air Force car for Ed Carpenter Racing. My, oh my, the elbows are out, and I think somehow Johan Harth has found his way to 1st.
He certainly did. He got a tremendous launch from the start. He started in 4th place and, well, found an inside lane, and whilst everyone else was battering each other through those first couple of corners, and they're still carrying on now, well, you know, you're just, again, handing somebody a possible victory here. But Johan Harth, what a start.
Latin-Mackie, Bergeron, and Wangen all took to the Joker along with Luis Lejeune on that first lap. Does mean that Otto Taskinen might still be in that Joker Delta. Here's a look at the iRacing replay. Busa's on that inside. And well, contact with his teammate. That's the Sonax Ed Carpenter Racing car. And Busa, who is racing from Logan Clampitt's house, well, might be a rather interesting evening as they drown their sorrows after this one completes. Through the final corner, Johan Harth has extended the advantage to Bergeron by 1.5 seconds. Otto Taskinen still about 12 seconds behind. If he can find some pace here in the next couple of laps, he might be able to leapfrog the Frenchman, a track that Otto Taskinen has done pretty well in the past at before. Let's see what he can do with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Otto, he needs about a second and a half, doesn't he? And you're not going to get that in about 2 laps, are you, really? Not unless Johan makes a mistake here, but still Bergeron, Latin Mackie, both duking it out there on track with Thomas Vangen behind as well. But yeah, Johan Harth, he's in a very, very comfortable position, and he's actually pulling away slightly from Alex Bergeron.
How relieved he must be feeling right now, because, well, I'm sure, given that he's competing in 2 World Championships this year, and it's not just 2 World Championships, but 2 very different cars that race on consecutive days. It must be very difficult for him to figure out how to dial in his practice regime, but after going through these last chance qualifiers, we've seen a car win before and clear of the rest of the field, and now pulling away from Taskin, and I think Harth is looking good to advance. Bergeron in front of his teammate for Jim Beaver Esports. It's Latin Mackie who we're riding on board with right now as we take our way over the anti-cut curbs of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and there we are on board with the Dirtfish car, and use of the windscreen wiper through the right-hander now, and yeah, it's all panning out, but Johan Harth at the front. Taskinen wasn't able to get the jump.
Oh, Taskinen just giving a shove to Bergeron as they try and squabble for second, but that's just bragging rights in effect. No points paid out in these last chance qualifiers, but the winner 12 months ago, Johan Harth, had to go the long way through to the feature, but he wins the second last chance qualifier. The defending champion will start at the tail end of our feature event. We say goodbye to 9 more drivers, 28 cars whittled down to the fastest 10. Alex Bergeron, 3.5 seconds back from Johan Harth. Otto Taskinen in 3rd, Tony Latin Mackie 4th, Thomas Wangen, Luke Krause, Vicente Salas, Louis Lejeune, Matt Busa, and Johannes Vahanen complete the top 10. I gotta say, for Salas, he will be frustrated, to say the very least, Paul, because he did the job in qualifying, couldn't have gone much better for him, and then bullied into the start. Unfortunately, he ends up this race watching on from the sidelines.
But that's what happens here in Rallycross. You have a poor heat, you get yourself that last chance qualifier opportunity, but it is just a free-for-all in these LCQs, and unfortunately for Salas, doesn't find himself in the feature race.
Well, we're racing at a short track, and we saw some classic short track racing. It is time for feature racing action, but don't go anywhere. That's coming up next on the iRacing Esports Network.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network, where 10 laps are left here at the Iowa Speedway. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith for the action, and plenty of action here at the fastest short track on the planet. 10 drivers are left, and my oh my, Paul, I mean, really, we saw increasing physicality across of our 6 previous races here in the World Championship. Just one more left to go. It's 10 laps in length. This is where it all counts.
Absolutely, this is where you get the bulk of your championship points here, and this is where you can really make or break your week and get yourself a good result here. That sets you up nicely for next week. You want to carry momentum, and well, you'd have to say that at the moment the momentum is in the favour of John Robertson.
The Yokohama Pole Award for the 2nd consecutive race for Robertson. He'll start on the pole here today. Say goodbye to some of the drivers here. Jarno Leskinen, one of the big ones. His 100% feature record comes to a close as we take a look at the live point situation. Points are paid out in qualifying, points are paid out in the heat. And so Robertson has built up that advantage, now 4 points clear of Ollikainen. Salas, as a result of all of his bad luck, has dropped to third. Tommy Holman sits in fourth, Johan Harth in fifth, but now starting to be dropped by his Subaru Motorsports USA teammate. Consistency, that's what Robertson talked about when I was previewing the season with him. He could pinpoint specific races where he felt he had lost the championship, even before the final race at Sonoma. He's looking very strong, and confidence is key in a championship like this, Paul, where you know things are going to get very difficult at times with the amount of contact that we see. Here's a look at the way that the points are paid out. 15 points to your victor, all the way down to just a solitary point for finishing in 10th and last in these features. So if Robertson can win again, he'll become one of the first drivers to win back-to-back since the days of Mitchell de Jong when he was dominating this championship. But there's plenty to play for. And here's a look at the prizes and our awards as well.
Yeah, a nice cool 10 grand for the championship winner, and that filters down to 10th place. You've also got that Yokohama Pole Award, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, and the Hard Charger as well. So, yeah, plenty for these drivers to go out there and try and win themselves.
That Dirt Push Rookie of the Year is looking interesting. I think Kevin Ellis Jr. now might be able to leapfrog Leskinen with a good result here. Of course, Kevin Ellis will start in third position in today's action. Well, here we go. 10 laps left to go. Let's take a look at our Yokohama starting grid for the final time today. Round 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama is ready to get underway. And on pole for the second time in 2 weeks, John Robertson will lead us to the green. Alongside will be Killian Dalomo, searching for his first World Championship win. Kevin Ellis Jr. for Rahal Lenneman-Lanigan finished in the top 5 last time, but he's searching for victory as well. He'll have the inside heading down into the first corner. Joni Ollikainen was pipped for victory by his teammate Tommy Holman. In Daytona, the 2 Set Esports cars start in 4th and 5th positions. Jacob Rafoss makes a feature race appearance for the first time in 2021. The 14-year-old looking strong for Vermont Sports Cars. Jake Robertson starts back then in 7th position alongside Rasmus Torminen for the Set Team GRX. Luis Nunez, first feature appearance for the young Spaniard, while Johan Hart, the defending world champion, looks to become the second driver in history to win after having to go through the last chance qualifiers. It is 115 meters. That's the run into the first right-hand hairpin and the first braking zone in today's race. 10 laps on the board. This is where it all counts. Engines rev, and we go racing. Good launch from Robertson. Can he cover off his teammate behind? Yes, he does. Around goes Toivonen. Not going to be a good result for him as he tries to build off his 3rd place finish here last year, but in towards the first couple of corners. It is Robertson that leads from Killian Dalomo, and now Joni Ollikainen challenges Kevin Ellis Jr. Robertson and Dalomo down to the Joker. Ellis leads the rest of the cars on the regular lap.
Yeah, they wanted to just get that Joker out the way. They were at the front. That's the best place to do that from. Get it out the way and done to get yourself some clean air and out of that big pack of cars. So good start from Robertson and Dalomo. Nunez and Toivonen as well. Just the 2 of them that got together at the start there. Rather unfortunate, but unfortunately that's what happens here in Rallycross.
And the time difference between Kevin Ellis Jr. and John Robertson is at about 12.5 seconds. So if Ellis can't find some pace and close that gap to Robertson out front, might look like Robertson is going to walk away with this one. Jake Robertson, the younger of the brothers, is taking to the Joker this time around, so he'll cycle out in front of Kevin Ellis Jr. So 3 cars have taken to the Joker this time around. Lap 3 about to be in the books as Ellis Jr. still being chased around by Ollikainen and Holman. Wouldn't be surprised if we see those cars take to the Joker this time around.
Yeah, the spotters will be looking at the time delta. They'll be looking at their timing screens and going, okay, now's not the time to do it. Let's try and get that gap a little bit closer to the leaders or whoever that you're setting as that that person to be fighting with, and you'll be getting a lot of talk from your spotter helping you out in this. You hear it in Rallycross in real life, a lot of chatter from the spotter telling them exactly when to go down onto that joker.
You can hear the car revving up over the jump as we rode on board with Tommy Holman. Missed out on the feature race last time around. Already starting to drop back in the championship hunt, and it's still early days in the championship, but in a championship like this where the action is so chaotic, cannot afford to be left behind as the rest of the cars pull away. Johan Harth is really falling adrift of these cars. Sits in 8th. Yes, he's yet to take to the joker, but not looking like a good points day for Johan. Jacob Rafals took to the joker this time around. Almost halfway through the 10 laps of feature racing action. Kevin Ellis Jr. still leads these train of cars that have yet to come down. He's 12 seconds behind as we ride on board with the Scotsman, heading back onto the tarmac.
Yeah, he's waiting this out. He's going to leave this as late as possible. He has dropped back to about 12 and a quarter seconds back from his compatriot up there at the front of the field of John Robertson in that Subaru Motorsports USA car. So yeah, right now Ellis Jr., he's looking good for about a second, third place definite.
He's looking good for a first podium, and last time around a couple of tenths slower than the Subaru Motorsports car out front. So John Robertson is building that buffer. This is crucial when it comes to using that clean air. That's what jokers are all about in Rallycross. It should also be noted that with this being the last of the American tracks to kick off the schedule, most American Rallycross tracks have jokers which are shortcuts, whereas in European competition the joker tends to be a little bit longer, especially when we head to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Hell Ankenbanen, of course, has the joker, which you can take on the opening lap of the race, where you can sweep yourself wide. Plenty of chaos, both in sim racing and in real-world competition. Ellis Jr. to the joker in front of Delomo, but about 2 seconds behind Robertson. Robertson in control. Ollikainen 3 laps to try and build an advantage. Torminen to the joker as well.
Yeah, he timed that right. He realised it was going to come into a nice gap, get himself ahead of Killian Delomo. I think he'll be pleased to get into second place. Well, Kevin, he can't quite match John Robertson for pace right now. And look at this, the battered and bruised Set Esports car. Currently trying to battle it out with Nunez towards the rear of the field that have taken the joker lap so far. It's really just getting the best result you can for these drivers.
Look at this though, there's some great battling up and down the order. Plenty of damage to the front of Torminen's car. Takes a very interesting line through that left-hand hairpin and up onto the banking, hard on the anchors through the left-hand sweeper that builds you up across the start-finish line. So Ollikainen and Holman still a little bit too far behind Robertson to jump the race leader with the joker, but still in the window to jump past Kevin Ellis Jr. We'll have to wait and see when they decide to do it. They are holding that joker as close to their vest as possible, that last possible lap. And last time around, Ollikainen was faster, but only about 400ths quicker. There is the Set Esports car starting to catch up on some traffic.
He is, and well, we're heading to the final lap now, so he's timing it just about right, really. If he's getting to the back of that traffic, he's going to get himself through the joker lap on this lap, along with Holman and Harth.
We'll wait and see what happens to Ollikainen then. To the right he'll go through the shortcut. 11.5 seconds quicker. Almost knocks down the wall, but it's not close enough. He'll emerge just in front of Delomo, but out front, in control of the field. A second consecutive pole position and a second consecutive win. John Robertson wins for the 3rd time in his World Championship career. Extends his championship advantage. You can see the smile on his face.
I was beginning to wonder if we were going to see a smile there for a second. He was it was really, there he is. Look at the big grin. Show them the teeth. He's happy, and why wouldn't you be for 2 wins in a row?
Delight on the face for him, and only 1 victory last year for John Robertson. Who needs consistency when you can win races? And well, the Robertson household will be delighted. Both their drivers through to the feature for the 2nd consecutive race, and John Robertson through to victory lane. Last year, we saw no consecutive winners. Robertson breaks a streak that dates back to 2019 when Mitchell de Jong was a dominant force in the World Championship. His third career win, and for the Apex Racing team, they'll be delighted. Robertson victorious, Kevin Ellis Jr. Finishes in second, podium for him. What a day for the Apex Racing team. Joni Ollikainen returns to the podium in the number 44 machine for Set Esports, while Killian Delormeau gets his best career finish, fourth on the day. After missing out on feature racing action at Atlanta, Tommy Holman returns to the feature with a top 5 finish. Jake Robertson, Jacob Rafos, Johan Hart, Rasmus Torminen, and Luis Nunez complete the top 10. Damage limitation for the defending champion Johan Hart. At the very least, he'll accumulate some points back in 8th positions. What a day and plenty of action here in the cornfields of Iowa at the fastest short track in the planet. Don't go anywhere. Post-race coverage for our iRacing World Championship coming up on the iRacing Esports Network.
In 2018, Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps, the best drivers, and the most intense action ever. In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you. Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network for post-race coverage of the 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Paul Smith, as we get ready to talk to the top 3 in today's race. But my oh my, Paul, John Robertson is a man on a mission. You could see the delight on his face, but I have a feeling if you had talked to him before this one, he would not necessarily have even been thinking about the victory, but dominant here in Iowa.
Yeah, tremendous result for the young Brit, and he'll be delighted with that after missing out on the championship last season. There you see the start of the race then, that contact right at the start, and you see the cars just fanning out at the front, getting themselves all sorted out in position, and the early joker was crucial there for John Robertson. It got himself some clean air and got himself out to the front of the field. He was able to control things from there. What a drive.
And I believe we are ready then to dive our way down into the podium circle for our post-race interviews. Let's start with the driver that finished in third, Joni Ollikainen for Set Esports, and Paul Smith is standing by.
Certainly am, and well, third place for you then, Joni. You must be happy to be back onto the podium here in this championship, and well, it's getting yourself some really good points in the first part of the season.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with this result. This track has always been quite difficult for basically our whole team. So yeah, I'm quite happy that we managed to pull out the podium.
It certainly was a good day for you out there today. I mean, managed to get yourself fourth fastest in qualifying, find yourself fourth place at the start of the feature, able to gain that one position in the end. Just talk to us about this track. How important is it to get the timing right for that Joker lap here today?
Yeah, the Joker lap is quite massive advantage. It's like almost half of the track, so yeah, it's quite crucial to get it on right timing, and I think we did quite well with Joker today to get to P3, and yeah, I have to thank my spotter Alex for keeping me on time with all the gaps to Killian and Kevin. So yeah, I knew what the gap is. So yeah, we decided to go on last lap, and it worked out well.
Well, it certainly did. We head on over to Europe then next week. Brands Hatch, I mean, how much have you driven that track, and how much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm happy to go to Europe. I think those tracks suit me a lot better than all the American tracks. So yeah, I'm looking forward, and I think Brands Hatch is quite good track for us as a team. But yeah, just can't say much now. We will see in the race how the pace is, but I think we will be quite good.
Well, Joni, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the 3rd place.
Thank you, and thanks to my team Set Esports and to my teammates and all of my partners and all of the team's partners.
So that was Joni Ollikainen on the podium for the 2nd time in 2021. And we turn our attention over to a first-time podium sitter in the iRacing Rallycross World Champion. It's the Scotsman, Kevin Ellis Jr. And Kevin, you must be delighted. I know round 1 didn't necessarily go your way, missing out on the feature, but last time out 7 days ago, a top 5, here now a podium, only 1 step away from the victory. So surely that's what's coming up next when we head to your side of the pond.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise tonight, honestly. A new track for me. I only really got to get hands-on Sunday with it. I really hadn't driven it before tonight. So, yeah, really had to get knuckled down and try and get on top of the track as quickly as possible. And of course, when you've got teammates like John, Johan, and Jake that can kind of carry you along, it makes things a lot easier. So, yeah, honestly, to come away with a 1-2 tonight with John was mega. And to get a podium as well for Ray Hall in 2 different disciplines is a really good feeling. Of course, we're just 1 step away from the win, so hopefully, as you say, we can get that at some point before the end of the season. But yeah, to come away with a P2 tonight's mega, really great points. Got good points from qualifying as well. So yeah, absolutely chuffed.
Yeah, qualifying went great for you, up there in 3rd and dominated your heat alongside your Ray Hall teammate in Jake Robertson. This was a track that, didn't take part in the qualifying series, so you didn't have that much experience. But next time out, Brands Hatch is a track that you did race in that IRX All-Star Invitational earlier this year. So what are your hopes heading to Brands Hatch, and what are you thinking about that track? Because one of the hardest break-in zones that we've got down into turn number 1, and the start here is chaotic. Start at Brands Hatch is equally chaotic.
Yeah, Brands is going to be a really tough one. I think it's the longest track we head to as well, so there's a lot more opportunities to gain time, but also to lose time. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough one. I'm going to need to try and get on top of that as early as possible, and yeah, really just try and get our heads wrapped around that. Obviously, this year we're helped by the fact that we came to a lot of these tracks last year, so a lot of the old setups that obviously we know work. We just need to tweak a few minor things, but Brands Hatch, we do really need to start from the ground up almost, and as well with a couple of the other tracks that are coming up later in the season as well, we're going to have to start from the ground up and try and find the approach that works there. So yeah, I think it might be a bit of a shake-up at Brands in terms of the running order. There might be some teams that hit it, might be some teams that miss it, so just going to hope we're on the right side of the coin for that one.
And so I know sim races are always hard on themselves. That's any racing driver, but 3 races down, so a 3rd through this season already. Give yourself a score out of 10 given how things have gone for you so far, because Rallycross, cage match on wheels, not always in your control.
Yeah, obviously Daytona, I came away pretty disappointed with that one. I felt like we had good pace. It's probably the track I've got the most seat time at, so I was a bit disappointed to come away from there with that. In terms of qualifying as well, like even last round, qualifying didn't really go great, and even here I wasn't too happy with my Q lap. So I'd probably give myself maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think we've done pretty good to get a podium in only our 3rd race, and be in the top, I think 7 or 8 in qualifying in every single round. I think we're not doing too bad. So I'd probably say 7 out of 10.
Well, if this is a 7 out of 10 to finish 2nd, I can't wait to see what a 10 out of 10 looks like, Kevin. Congratulations on the podium. Looking forward to seeing you in 7 days' time.
Thanks very much, guys. Have a good one.
So that was the first time podium sitter in Kevin Ellis Jr. We're now joined by your race winner for the second time this year in John Robertson. And John, you said you needed to be consistent to win a championship. Well, there's no more consistency than winning consistently. So we can see the smile on your face. You must be delighted right now.
Yeah, for sure. All week in practice this week, we've been really quick. The whole team has. So to come out here and do that, it just feels so good. Obviously back-to-back wins as well, like you said. So it's looking good in the championship. But yeah, I was just so happy to qualify on pole because I knew I had the pace this week. Yeah, great job from Kev as well. 1-2 for Apex. It's always good.
And yeah, you talk about consecutive wins. That's the first time since 2019 we've seen that. And, you know, someone like Mitchell de Jong, so dominant in this championship. So you join an illustrious group there. But third victory in your Rallycross career now. You must be looking forward to this next part of the season. We're 1/3 of the championship done. You're in the points lead and starting to build that advantage as well.
Yeah, for sure. The next 3 tracks coming up, they're not our greatest, but I think that just means we have to put in more work for them. But definitely if we can get out of those 3, looking pretty good. I think the last third of the season should treat us well. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Like we've seen with Johan, anything can happen. But yeah, just happy to get these results.
And so you and I had kind of talked in the build-up to the season, and you had said that you weren't necessarily the biggest fan of Rallycross growing up, but, you know, video games and all that stuff got you into this. Just how much fun do you have doing this? Because it is one of the most fun things you can do on the iRacing service.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know if you saw it after the race, just doing a little bit of drifting. It's one of the best tracks for it. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this kind of this discipline. But I just love it. I love the short laps. I love how the cars you hold them right and you just slide in all the way through the dirt as well. Yeah, it's great. I can be racing like this and having fun as well.
Good day for the family as well, with both of you guys in the top 6. Congratulations, John. And I have a feeling we're going to have to come up with some new questions for you if you become a regular appearance here in these post-race interviews.
Thanks, guys.
So that is your race winner for the second time this season. And like we said, the last time we had a consecutive race winner, 2019, Mitchell de Jong. Illustrious company for John Robertson. Let's take a look then at the points as they sit heading out of Iowa and heading out of the United States as well. 3 consecutive races in Europe to come, and John Robertson, Paul, has extended his championship advantage.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job here. He's only got a 9-point lead over Joni Olakainen right now, so Joni getting those podium results here in the early stages is really helping him be in for a challenge of this championship. Tommy Holman, after missing out on the feature last time out, gets himself back into the top 3. Johan Harth, he'll be disappointed with how today has gone. And, well, Alex Bergeron falling out of the top 10. And yeah, this is going to really spice up after this first third of the season.
And if you look at that battle for relegation, you've got Jake Robertson who sits in 7th. You then look to, you know, someone like Thomas Wangen who sits in 20th. Only 20 points separate 13 drivers, so plenty to play for as we head out of Iowa with 6 races left to go. And so let's take a look at the schedule. 3 races in the US done, and well, I'm a bit surprised to hear that Kevin Ellis Jr. doesn't feel that confident heading to his side of the pond, a track that I'm sure he's raced around at least in the road configuration plenty. But Brands Hatch up next, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya after that, then Hell Lankenbanen to close off our European swing. Back to the United States for 3 final races, Phoenix, Sonoma, and Charlotte to close things off. And 9 different races. It makes things so interesting. But Paul, talk to us a little bit about Brands Hatch. It's a track that has Rallycross heritage, but not in the configuration that we're going to be racing around in iRacing.
Yeah, we've not got the exact layout that they used to run here at Brands Hatch, unfortunately, but it is still a tremendous layout as this one. I grew up watching Rallycross on TV, and Brands Hatch was always the place that we'd see it. So I'm really looking forward to this round. It's going to have plenty of spicy action happening out there, and well, it is a completely different layout to the road course, I can tell you that. So if you've never seen Rallycross before from Brands Hatch, look forward to next week. You'll absolutely love it.
And I do believe it's got the hardest braking zone on the calendar, 210 roughly kilometers an hour braking into turn 1. It's a transition from gravel onto the dirt as well. Very interesting and just as chaotic as what we've seen in these opening couple of rounds. But Paul, 3 rounds done. What a championship we're in store for. I'm loving every week that we've had so far. Yes, today's feature was a little bit slower than the first 2, but that was a high bar to live up to.
Absolutely. I mean, you look back to the first 2 weeks, we had tremendous action there. But yeah, this round, you saw the dominance of John Robertson here today. He's really stamping his authority in the early going. He set himself a nice foundation for the rest of his championship challenge. But don't write off anybody out of this championship yet. It could be wide open. One little mistake and it could cost you big time, as we saw with Johan Half today.
We're doing pretty poor on our predictions as well. I think we're 1 for 6, and that was at Atlanta, so clearly don't want to get picked by us. But it is time to wrap up from Iowa Speedway with round 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship, presented by Yokohama in the books. Plenty more World Championship action to come on the iRacing Esports Network as the Force Dynamics Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship heads to the Temple of Speed, whereas Autodrome Nacional Monza will play host to the 4th round in 2021 tomorrow. Catch the action at 7 p.m. UTC or 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back in 7 days' time as the virtual paddock sets up shop on the other side of the pond at Brands Hatch for round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship on October 13th. Until then, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the iRacing Esports Network. On behalf of the entire team at iRacing, for our production team, Tyler Maxon, Ryan Bauer, Joshua Lee, for my co-commentator, Paul Smith, my name is Arjuna Kankipati. Congratulations to John Robertson, winner in the Hawkeye State.